Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Thursday, April 24th. I'm Michael Taylor. Pleasure to be here. Hope you're having a great day so far. I went to the Angels game last night, and I got to tell you, it's not like it used to be. I've been a few times in the past few years, and just, I wish they were contending. I remember back in the day when you go there, sold out stadiums, they're always in contention for the playoffs, and this year not so much, but I did eat well, I'll tell you that. I found this little rotisserie place over on the third base side. They have like homemade mac and cheese, tri-tip, rotisserie chicken. It was really, really good. Then I went over to the little to the cookie stand over there and got fresh hot baked cookies. So maybe I didn't, maybe the Angels aren't going to be in the playoffs this year, but I ate like a champion last night. I'll tell you that much. All right, let's talk about what's on today's show. Hope you're going to have a great weekend. Maybe actually go out to the game. They're in town this weekend for games too, so go out there and head out to a game. Tickets are available. Plenty of good seats still available. On our program today, Third Mutual Board's Donna Rain Zostak is going to be here. We're going to be talking about efficiencies they're doing with water conservation, solar panels, and LEDs, and all that kind of stuff in terms of saving the community some cash and their projections for next year as well. So we'll take a look at that with her. Right now, we want to keep you informed, and it is going to be National Prescription Take Back Day coming up soon. It's going to be this Saturday, the 26th. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., you can go over to Laguna Woods City Hall and do the drug take back there. Residents, you can bring any unwanted, unused, expired prescriptions and medications to dispose of. I actually did that. We had some old dog prescriptions that we had there in the house, and we're like, oh, we don't need these anymore. The dog wasn't on these anymore, so we took those back. And anything like that is going to be a good thing. Don't flush it down the toilet. Don't throw it in the trash can. It's not good for your environment. Make sure you're taking it back and they dispose of it properly. For more information, you can call the Sheriff's Department at the number at the bottom of your screen. Let's take a look at our weather forecast, and we've got some very cool temperatures going on for the next few days into the weekend, and actually a very slight chance of rain tomorrow morning, and that chance kind of sticks with us into Saturday as well, so a little bit off and on. Nothing major, but enough to maybe turn the windshield wipers on and make the streets a little slippery, so be careful if you're out there in the rain. But mostly it's going to be partly cloudy, cool temperatures really through the weekend until we get to Sunday, which is going to have a little break up there. But still, temperatures are going to stay on the cool side until we get to Monday, where we get close to 70 degrees. Let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset. Hey, we got a little work going on over here in the field over in Woods Canyon. Thank you, Danny Henson, for sending us this picture. Beautiful shot out there of the beautiful flowers. Everything's in bloom. If you've been on any hikes lately, everything's flowering, everything's in bloom because we had some good rain over this season. Sunrise this morning was 6:09. Sunset tonight is 7:28. Hey, if you'd like to send us a picture like Danny did, we'd love to see it. You can email us, lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Any sunrise, sunset shots, little trails, hikes you might have done, pets, places, whatever it might be. Make sure you include your name with the photo, where you took the picture, and we will use it in our sunrise, sunset segment. All right, going to take a quick break here. Let's take a look at our meetings, and when we come back, we'll be getting an update from Third with Donna Rain Zostak. Stay with us.
Community Bridge Builders and the African American Heritage Club proudly present The Spirit of Harriet Tubman, Saturday, May 31st at 4 p.m. at the Laguna Woods Village Performing Arts Center. Tickets at the PAC box office, $20, $30, and $40. For more information, call Rebecca Gillard at 949-452-0464 or Willie Phillips at 310-877-2819. You don't want to miss this one.
Go beyond better hearing with artificial intelligence. At Advanced Ear Care, we've taken regular hearing care to a new level with artificial intelligence performance. This provides smarter, clearer balance of sound. Artificial intelligence identifies background noises and reduces them so you can hear the soft-spoken speech clearly. Don't be afraid of this technology. It works automatically. Put them on and hear better all day in all situations. Hear the conversations clearly with family, friends, and caregivers. And remember, tell them Stuart sent you.
Dr. Farhumand and her associates at Brilliant Smile are excited to announce we now feature cone beam computed tomography. CBCT scans have many benefits over traditional x-rays. They are fast, safe, non-invasive, and provide better care to our patients. The 3D images provide an accurate view of teeth, bones, and soft tissue. It allows us to diagnose and treat more effectively. Also, it features modern diagnosing of sleep apnea by checking the airways and obstructions. Get started today. Call Brilliant Smile, Laguna Woods Village favorite dentist.
Hey, beach walkers, grandkid chasers, stair climbers, dance lovers, weekend warriors, and yogis. Your life demands activity, and joint pain shouldn't hold you back. Get personalized joint care that's as unique as you, with high satisfaction rates to prove it. At Memorial Care, your joint replacement patient navigator will be by your side, helping you safely return to more. Like another beach, extra hug, and one more song. More from life is calling with Memorial Care.
We had Earth Day earlier this week. It's Earth Month, if you're not aware of that. And why not talk about some environmental projects with Third's very own treasurer, Donna Rains-Dostak.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here.
You guys have been working on, this has been a project that's been going on for years in the making. And you've done a lot of things in terms of some environmental kind of concerns that you guys addressed, in terms of water conservation, electricity, lighting in the streets and those kinds of things. And a lot of it's come to fruition. It's really starting to pay off, right?
It has definitely done so. And I want to start by saying, you had said you all have done, and it is all.
Oh, yeah.
Because every year, 4 or 3 positions on the board come up for election or deciding, to step down. And so this has been several boards. So, when I say we as the board, I'm talking about the generations of Third Mutual boards.
And the committees who work on this and that, right? And they
All
work
teams.
with the water district. They work with, Southern California Edison, those kinds of things. So it's such a combined effort to get these things to happen.
It is, and of course we are so much more like a city than an HOA. That's not surprising.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because, and you might wonder why as the treasurer I'm talking about the environmental projects. And it's because as we put this together, and for the Earth Day celebration here, and thanks to concerned citizens, it was a great event. They worked really hard. But as putting it together, I realized every single one of these environmental projects saved money. And that's the win-win we're always looking for. We work so hard to try and keep our monthly assessments at a reasonable amount. In these days of inflation, it's tough. It's not a question of will prices go down, it's how much will they go up. And so it was just, as putting all of this together, it was like, oh my goodness, every single one of these environmental projects saved us money.
Right. And like you said, it started way back in 2017 in terms of the solar panels. So like you said, generations of folks have been working on this, and the dividends are paying off now. Talk a little bit about the 2017 solar project.
Okay, that was a major project, and I was not on the board at the time, so I'm just a recipient of what
reaping
they
the benefits.
did. Yes. But back in 2017, the board decided to put up solar panels on 12 of the Third Mutual Garden Villa buildings. And of course, there's quite a lot of roof area there. So the total number of panels put up was 2,575, which is just an astounding number. But that's a little over 200 per building, and these are large buildings, so of course that's quite feasible. And over the years, the production has quite evened out. We're in Southern California, we get a lot of sun, and the annual production of those solar panels has been approximately 1.1 million kilowatt hours, which the first question is, what does that do? What's a million kilowatt hours?
Sure can run a refrigerator, right?
It can do a whole lot more than that. It actually, for people to really get a sense of what that is, 1.1 million kilowatt hours of electric production can serve 1,350 California homes for an entire year. That's a lot of power.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, it's why it was put on the buildings. We have elevators in those buildings. We have laundry rooms on each of the floors. It's so many areas that really demand electricity and are maintained by the mutuals. So that was that choice. The annual savings right now has been about $250,000 a year. And projections are that prices of electricity are going to go up considerably over the next 3 to 4 years, possibly as much as 45% over that time. So these panels, which have been doing a wonderful job, are just going to keep doing it. And including maintenance and everything, they are bringing in, saving that amount of money. So that's been wonderful.
And they probably overproduce at certain times of the day, right? So they actually feed back into the grid.
That's what happens.
Yeah, and that's where the rebates and that's where the savings really come from. You guys are generating more electricity than you're even using.
Right.
So that's amazing, amazing part of that. So let's talk about, in terms of electricity.
Staying
let's talk
with
about
electricity,
LED lighting.
Group them
and that
together.
that was a 2020 project that is now again still paying dividends.
Yes, and so we've kind of gone over the years, and the LED lighting was one that it just kind of seemed the right thing to do at the time. Third Mutual has several streetlights, 788 of them, that are under our supervision and that we pay for. And so 788 streetlights were converted to LED. All the exterior lights on every single building that is under the jurisdiction of Third Mutual, all the exterior lights are LEDs. So anyone who's used them in their house has probably noticed they give better lighting for a lot less wattage.
Right.
And so they're more efficient. There's a longer lifespan, a little more expensive to buy in the first place, but their longevity is so great and they're saving so much that it overshadows that. And just to give people an idea of, well, what does that mean when you say it's more efficient? Okay. A 9-watt LED bulb is equal to at least a 60-watt incandescent bulb, the kinds we've used for years and years. And the longevity, we're kind of lucky if an incandescent bulb lasts a full year if it's used a lot. And an LED light, these days, with the way they're making them, can last anywhere from 10 to 25 years.
Right. That's funny because I remember being a kid, and one of the things that you get at the store was light bulbs all the time. You'd always be buying, you always had to make sure you had light bulbs at the house because they would
they would pop. In the pantry or wherever it was, they were always a
pack. Flip, pop, oh, that light just went out and you were replacing them.
That's the other thing that I found interesting while investigating this, and that is that a light bulb pops. I mean, that's it. When it decides to go, it just goes and you're suddenly plunged into the dark. An LED light, when it starts to go, starts getting dimmer and dimmer. Okay. And then it fails. So you kind of have a little, as you keep thinking, is it my eyes or is it the light?
My eyes checked. No, you're fine. And in terms of that initial investment, though, that you talk about, when you talk about the LEDs, that can be a big bite in terms of like a board saying, okay, we're going to invest this much money, this much, and renovate, we're going to rewire some of these areas and those kinds of things. So the return on investment as something that you guys have also looked at. Okay, over a number of years, this is going to pay for itself.
The biggest, this was compared to the solar panel project, this was very small.
Right, right.
Comparatively, the solar panel project was a few $1 million. And that payback, we're kind of right there right now, possibly next year. It's hard to tell. A couple of curves were thrown by SoCal Edison in terms of switching things over. But given that they're paying for themselves completely, and from now on or within the next year moving forward, it will be sheer bonus for us. And as the prices of electricity go up even more, and of course for the environment, less production.
Yeah, less bulbs in the landfill, so to speak, and all that kind of stuff.
Just less energy production, because energy production is not necessarily environmentally friendly.
And you guys are producing energy already too, so you got a two for. Let's talk a little bit about the turf removal that's been going on. We've seen that. I've seen that in my neighborhood with people just ripping out their lawns and putting in like the fake grass and the more drought tolerant plants. That happens as an individual decision, but you guys are doing it as a community.
We're doing it we're doing several things, and this is the next big area I wanted to talk about, was landscape in general. First, of course, is the turf removal projects, and those started, you can see in 2020, we took a tiny step. That was 2,844 square feet, but every year after that, all the way through to the end of last year, we've done more, and now over 69,000, almost 70,000 square feet of what we would call non-functional turf, grass that just sits there, not looking pretty necessarily. The strips along the curb that need edging and fertilizer and weed killer and constant maintenance.
Right.
And they really don't do much.
They don't
you
get
know.
any use, really.
They get no
Then
use.
there's no practical use.
And if anyone has driven along recently, especially this is springtime, when you drive along El Toro Road between Gate 7 and Gate 9, and the purple flowers on the median are there. The median is done by the city, not by us. But there isn't a blade of grass on either side of El Toro or in the center, and yet it's the most beautiful drive. And that would have been easily seen as non-functional turf, you know, it just sits there.
Right.
And so that was where the focus was, and we are going to be forced to look at that even more closely as the state has mandated that by 2029, non-functional turf not be watered by potable water. And that leads me to the very next thing we want to look at, because Third Mutual was really thinking ahead, and because of our close relationship with El Toro Water District.
Right.
We have been able to convert, over the years, a very slow project. All of Third Mutual landscape water has been converted from potable water to recycled water, with the exception, and that's an important exception, of gates 11 and 14.
Okay.
And that's because to do so in those two areas, which are quite separated, and gate 14, if you've gone there, it's up a hill, it just would be prohibitive to do it. So we have to look at other alternatives, and that's creating functional turf, meaning something you do with, put some picnic tables there, put some benches to relax with some drought-tolerant plantings that are beautiful. All kinds of suggestions that have been come in. And non-functional turf, the state is still trying to define what non-functional turf is, but the last definition I heard was, if the only one who walks across it is once a month when the landscaper walks across it, it's non-functional. So we've really done, it has made such a difference to have the recycled water. I can't even tell you. So that was one, that move was obviously done to save water.
Right.
Potable water, and we'll talk about that in a minute when we get down to the potable water situation. But we're moving toward drought-tolerant plants. They're lovely. We're doing a lot, especially the cul-de-sacs. Some of the cul-de-sac areas where they have cut-ins for parking. I live in a cul-de-sac, and there are 3 separate sections where the street cuts in for parking spaces. And the gardeners used to have to edge all of that around all of those parking things and around it, everything that was there, and feed it and nurture it, and it was miserable to cut, I'm sure, because they couldn't do their riding mowers easily because there were trees. I mean, it was terrible. And several years ago, they put in drought-tolerant plantings, took out the turf. And at first, you know, and I say this for any of our residents who are listening, the plants are put in kind of small because they grow fairly quickly.
Right, they spread out.
And every once in a while, someone says, "Boy, that was really nice. You know, we had nice grass, and now we have dirt with small plants."
Little things. Well, I did, you know, it was years ago, but I did the same thing with in my house, and I put I ripped out the turf years and years ago, and I said, I'm putting all these drought-tolerant plants. I went out to this place that just said sold native California plants, and it looked barren for about 6 or 7 months. And then those plants really come in, and they like you say, they're beautiful,
and
they
might
flower.
even be a year. But just this morning, as I was pulling out of the cul-de-sac to drive over here, and I looked, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And so it was an area that did nothing.
Right.
Took a lot of labor, took a lot of water, and served very little purpose. And now it's just lovely to look at. So those are good things. And again, we did it to save water, because of the resource that's so scarce for us, and we'll talk about that soon. We did it to save labor, and overall it saved a tremendous amount of money. We can't quite put a dollar sign on it. And I do want to mention, before we go to the last area, which is residential water, I want to mention GRF, Golden Rain Foundation, actually has redone the landscape watering, the irrigation systems throughout the village, and so thanks to them, we have an incredibly efficient landscape watering. Years ago, the folks, if it started to rain, they'd have to drive in from wherever they were to manually turn off a section of sprinklers, because why sprinkle while it's raining?
Right.
And now they can do it from their phone. I mean,
No, it's the technology is it's such when you see sprinklers on in the rain, you're like,
It's
what
kinda
is
like,
going on?
Right, and so now you don't see that anymore in Laguna Woods. And so that was a project that was thanks to GRF, but of course we all benefit from it. And the water savings is huge.
Was it a kind of a fun little process, like trying to figure out, okay, we have to turn this into functional turf because we don't have any potable water here? Was that kind of an interesting process? And like, what can we do with these spaces? And kind of reimagining some of the spaces
And it's
around
still
that?
being reimagined, and will continue. Especially now, our focus is shifting to gates 11 and 14 because they don't have recycled water. So we've got to put our emphasis there because we will have to do something about that by the end of this decade. And the last area that I really want to focus on is, you've noticed everything I've talked about up till now is what the boards were able to do, what El Toro was able to do, what everybody did. And when it comes to
So ask not what your board can do for you, ask what you can do for your board.
Absolutely.
This is the last slide you want to talk about
Absolutely,
here. What
yes.
can you do for your board?
and just to remind folks, in case if they're new here, may not know, and those who are here we may forget, 100% of our potable water is imported. We have absolutely no reliable source of potable water that we could use. We have no aquifers, no large reservoirs. And so our water comes either from Northern California or the Colorado River, neither of which are very close by.
No, and it's a lot of money to import that.
Well, and the Colorado River is getting very iffy because in the beginning, right now, the water that's allocated to each of the states is greater than the amount of water that's in the river.
Right, it's an over-allocation. It's always been, I think, they've always known that.
They did kind of a temporary stop and sort of a temporary fix, but next year in 2026, that's when they're going to have to redo that agreement. So we really have to work at it. And I think it's the hardest thing to do because we as residents of Laguna Woods and of Third Mutual don't get a water bill. So there's no way, there's no measure, there's no active. If we got a bill, we'd know.
There's an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing to it. I'm running the water, and there's no penalty in terms of
we have no idea. No idea. So this $3 million plus water bill that people say, why are our assessments going up or whatever? Has a lot to do with that. And so what we do can make a difference. And I just wanted to share with everybody that in 2023, we said, okay, this is it. We've got to really work at it. We had lots of meetings. We had a couple of spots on TV6. We had some panel discussions. And that year, Third Mutual alone, the residents, potable water, saved over 150 million gallons of potable water. That is a very large amount. Last year, kind of sat back on our laurels a little bit because it was kind of, well, everybody's gotten the message. And unfortunately, our use is starting to increase again. And it's up to every one of us to be efficient because the cost of water in Zone 4 is for water that's inefficient, excessive use it's called, is 4 times the cost of the same amount of water in Zone 1, in Tier 1, which is efficient water use. So it's not just the amount of water, but the cost goes up as one starts getting into some of these excessive use areas. So we just like to really remind everybody to save water. And it so happens, my other hat that I wear is as Chair of Water Conservation, and we meet today at 2 o'clock at the Community Center in the Elm Room.
Yeah, so if people want to get involved, I was going to say, like you said, it's not up to the residents. How can residents get more involved in being part of this? Is it committee work? Is it things like that?
The committee, and it was a subcommittee for a while, and we said, no, not anymore. And so today is the first meeting of it as a full committee.
Okay.
And we're just going to keep working at it and keep reminding people. And it was wonderful. When we had our table last week at the Earth Day celebration here, people came up to me and said, by the way, I want you to know, I save my shower water. That people catch it in a bucket and use it to water their plants.
Oh, yeah. What an interesting idea.
Yeah. So there are things. A couple of, probably the biggest thing to remind people of is there's no car washing in Third Mutual. And the hose spigot on the outside of your building or house is potable water, even though it's outside. We think of it as landscape water. It's not.
Well, I know that's been good water. I drank from the hose for years in the summer as a kid, and I was never allowed in the house during the summer, so I know that's good water.
Yeah, right, it's very good water. So let's not waste it.
Don't waste it, folks. All right, great conservation efforts, a great message for our residents. I want to thank you very much, Donna Rain Sostak, for coming in today, Treasurer of the Third.
Thank you for
having us. And I know you have
having
lots of meetings, so have a great day.
Off to the next one. Thank you.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
Technology is always moving forward, and sometimes we need to move with it. If you're a resident of Laguna Woods Village still using a ComLine or FEA email address, it might be time to make the switch. Services like Gmail offer more flexibility and convenience. Access your emails anytime, anywhere, whether you're on your phone, laptop, or tablet. Stay connected no matter where life takes you. Make the switch today and keep your inbox at your fingertips.
We promise to meet you with an open heart and curious mind. To never have the answers before we've heard your story. Because you are not everyone else, and healthcare is not one size fits all. Highest performing hospital, top ranked physicians, 50 convenient locations, right here in Orange County. You, empowered by Hoag.
You've got mail.
Computing isn't what it used to be. And the future? It's evolving faster than ever. At the Laguna Woods PC Club, we're committed to keeping you ahead of the curve. Our state-of-the-art workshop boasts over 30 computers, scanners, and printers. Our dynamic seminars, led by experienced volunteers, cover the latest trends in computing. Embrace the future of computing with us. The Laguna Woods PC Club.
Let's take a quick look at some of our movies for this weekend. On Friday, we've got The Way We Were with Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand. It is set in post-World War II McCarthyism, where two diametrically opposed couples, in terms of their viewpoints, they develop friendship and love, but it has a tough time overcoming their social divides. Then on Saturday, we have Companion with Sophie Thatcher. It's brought to us by RadNet. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Oh, looks scary. That picture looks pretty scary. A billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to a lakeside estate. This does not sound like Weekend at Bernie's. All right, let's take a quick check of our weather before we head out. We got some basically clouds going on for this weekend. As we head into the weekend, we have a slight chance for rain on Friday, slight chance for rain on Saturday, and cool temperatures all through the rest of the weekend, warming up a little bit on Monday. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of This Day. Tomorrow on the program, we have Band X going to be here, Band X Club, and Sports Corner, so stay tuned for that one. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.